Ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise and exactly where things are going by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing that we do know about Star Wars is that Disney and Lucasfilm are changing their ways of how they're going to be handling Star Wars moving forward in order to really satisfy a lot of the fans that had issues with the sequel trilogy movies and more. So, the thing about The Rise of Skywalker is that if we take a look at this movie, we do know that this film had a very tough production behind the scenes. I don't know if you guys knew this, but this movie was a very tough production, mainly because of Kathleen Kennedy and her input into the creative choices of Episode 9 and all of the different scenes that were actually cancelled or deleted by her to create a different movie in her own mind. Now, everything related to that, we do know that Episode 9 only crossed a little over $1 billion at the box office worldwide, which is way less than what they expected out to be. More like around $2 billion is what they were actually aiming for. They got nowhere near close to that, so obviously they want to reshape their ways of how they actually are going to handle the Star Wars franchise moving forward. Now, the really good thing is that we do know that the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, alright? This is the new CEO of Disney who took over Bob Iger's role, and as he makes his transition as the new CEO, a lot of changes are being made over at Lucasfilm. Now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are moving on to their new Star Wars universe, also known as their new expanded universe for the Star Wars franchise. Since the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, took over Bob Iger, many changes are being made over at Lucasfilm during his transition to create a better future for Star Wars in general. It's explained that Bob Chapek has a big plan to restart the Skywalker saga in several ways with their new Star Wars universe, especially providing major retcons to The Rise of Skywalker. It's explained that Bob Chapek already has a plan mapped out for the new Star Wars universe to reset the Skywalker saga in many ways. Now, this mainly has to do with the sequel trilogy and is already said to already be taking place as we speak right now, where it's explained that the changes are already happening, where many retcons will be made in the forms of novels and comics, as well as other projects that will be introduced in the near future during this year and, of course, next year of 2021, that is going to completely change how fans view the sequel trilogy movies. It's explained that Bob Chapek will be using brand new creatives to come on board over at Lucasfilm, such as Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau as an example, to take control of many of the creative decisions on these new changes to the Star Wars franchise with their new Star Wars universe. It's explained that Bob Chapek is using some of Bob Iger's ideas that he left behind while he makes his transition as the new CEO of Disney. This is going to change plot elements and story structures of the 3 Star Wars films, mainly by Disney and more. So, the thing about this big reset by Disney that's going to really provide a lot of retcons to The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, and even other Star Wars films out there, and hopefully the retcons for the other films, like the originals and the prequels, are going to be on a positive note. Now, the thing about the sequel trilogy, right? A lot of fans either have a lot of issues with them, or some fans out there kind of only have issues with some of the movies, right? Obviously, there's a lot of fans more so that support The Force Awakens than The Last Jedi. I would say that The Force Awakens probably got the, I would guess you could say, the less criticism in comparison to The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, because that movie really opened the doors for many different possibilities of what the next 2 movies could be, and that kind of made it as an exception, right? So, once The Last Jedi came out and it was a complete disaster for a lot of fans, obviously people looked back at The Force Awakens in a different way. Now, the thing about, Bob Chapek is that he really is going to be carrying out a lot of Bob Iger's plans in order to really leave behind a great legacy for Star Wars, and also providing some of his very own ideas to restart the Star Wars sequel trilogy and other Star Wars aspects out there by doing all these different retcons in the forms of books, novels, and comics that are already being made as we speak, that's going to be released sometime later this year into next year of 2021. So I myself personally, I'm really looking forward to that. I cannot wait to see exactly, what they have planned for, of course, the future of Star Wars and how it's really going to change our view of The Rise of Skywalker and more. Now, the thing about this is this. like I've always said, a lot of fans don't necessarily read the books and the novels, so that's my only problem with this is, well, is it really going to have a positive impact on all of the Star Wars fans? Not necessarily, per se, but those fans that do not read the books and the novels, that can rely on creators that talk about what they have read, or they can rely on other, people that they know, friends or family that are fans of Star Wars that read the books, to tell them about these stories, to change their view on the movies. That could very well be an alternative. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.